All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order our regularly scheduled board meeting for September 2024. I'd like to entertain a motion for approval of the agenda. For a second? All right, it's been moved and properly seconded that we would approve the agenda as printed. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, that will bring us to minutes. The minutes were distributed earlier in the week. Hopefully everyone had a chance to look through those. I will entertain a motion for approval of the August minutes.
So moved.
There's a second. All right, it's been moved by Sharon and seconded by Johara that we would approve the August minutes. Any discussion?
Yes, under treasurer's report, the first motion, after July, I'd like to insert 2020.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor with the noted correction, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That will bring us to the treasurer's report. Kathy, I'll turn it over to you.
I move to approve the August 2024 operating bills totaling $437,902.64.
All right, it's been moved by Kathy and seconded by Renee that we would approve operating bills of $437,902.64. Any discussion? Yes, Chris, sorry, and then I'll go to Renee.
Go ahead.
Okay, Renee, and then Chris.
Yeah. Rebecca Brown, I'm guessing she was a presenter.
Books and Bites, alphabet soup, so that was chips and snacks. Now, is she a staff member?
IA librarian.
Why a librarian?
So $900 even on the button. That's one.
Page 2. Down there. Oh, yeah, gift cards. For one of our programs, which was Marie, so Marie.
Any other questions? Chris, sorry.
I'm sure this is on here every month and it's taken me this long to notice it. Why do we write checks to ourselves?
Oh, those are for reimbursements. Usually, because we handle NetFonet. That we do electronically.
Okay.
And we stay reimbursed, but we have to reimburse us. Got it, yeah.
Question. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Kathy?
I was looking at the new clock.
Yes, I understand as well. It's not quite the old one.
Move to receive and file the August 2024 financial reports.
Kathy, seconded by Jim, that we would receive and file the financial reports. Any discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I do have a question. On the materials provided by Crystal, there was another set of statements. Not these, but something totally different.
Was it the actual bank statements, maybe?
I didn't print it. It was totally different. It wasn't the same as our finance. So it didn't have like this. It had a different set of criteria.
Like this.
Yeah, what are those?
Those are the checking accounts and the other accounts that we have. Shows also the NetroNet funding checking, the endowment fund. It shows all of the different things that we have money.
So why do we get that this time and not usually?
I don't know, because we usually don't have it. It's got all of the Yeah, I usually just send that to the finance.
Yeah, I find it helpful as a member of the finance committee. I do receive that every month. And I think as we go, since Crystal did share it, can discuss, the value that that would add, to the monthly packet for you guys, if you think it's prudent. I don't think we shared that previously, but I'm not necessarily opposed to it. Just to be clear. All right, any other questions for Kathleen? All right, Kathy, do you have anything for us under the treasurer's report? Thank you. That will bring us to the Friends of the Library report, and I will turn it over to the hardest working woman in the business, Stacy.
It's so funny that I'm sitting here with a bunch of hardworking people. For the benefit of anybody who does not know me, my name is Steve Stroh. I'm the president of the Friends of the Library, or the Farmers and Friends of the Library. I don't know if you need to put that in minutes. So we had our first board meeting on Tuesday, and we have a candidate that we are going to interview probably next week at this point, I think. Going on tomorrow. It's very exciting because he is, if I can be generational, a millennial. And not an old millennial either, particularly. He wrote this incredibly lovely letter of intent, and he's been a Farmington resident all of his life, except for the 4 years that he lived in Ann Arbor and went to school. And he's a lawyer for one of the local big firms, and has kids that he and his wife bring to Story Hour, and I don't know, they can just one. And but I'll tell you later. And we're really excited about it, and I'm hoping for more of the same, because we're probably gonna have a few of our longtime members roll off. They feel like they need to go on to other things. So I put it out to you, gang, if you know anybody who wants to be on the Friends of the Library board. It is, primarily a fundraising body, but there's lots of things that we do that encourage community participation. And I'm looking for somebody to coordinate volunteer stuff as well. So I think that I have talked about this ad nauseum, and I think that we're gonna have, things that we do. How you all sit on committees? They're all gonna be a committee of one, where they're in charge of something. Which is like most any boards I think that I've sat on in my lifetime. So upcoming things that we have going on, we're getting together the fall membership news, or rather letter that will go out, and hopefully at the beginning of October. National Friends Week is October 20th through the 26th or something. I think it's a Sunday to Saturday kind of deal. And in that time, we're going to have our book sale on the weekend of October. It's actually the 18th. So the 18th is the 20th. And so if you are somebody who wants to volunteer for anything, we're going to have a time for you, anybody who's retired, to come in and get you stuff in advance of the book sale as well. But I've got like a small cadre of volunteers who want to do some things. I think, if everybody does a little bit, then we'll all be good, and we can actually involve all those people who want to give back to the library and volunteer their time. So this is a good way to do it, since, the library might not have a lot of tasks. And this way they can make friends. And then on the 21st, we're having Viola Shipman, AKA Wade Rouse, who has a house on the west side of the state and centers a lot of his novels in Michigan, come and speak here in the auditorium. And we're excited about that. And gosh, what else? And then, we've got some good plans that are percolating along. And something I want to say, oh yes, we had a book sale in July that was not well attended, but then I did not also want to go outside of the air conditioning either at that point in the summer. So I can understand why people didn't. I think a lot of people were on vacation. But it was a real good measure of what sells and what doesn't sell. So with this book sale coming up, I'm really hoping for good things. And I think some of the volunteers that we have, we're going to try and do some stuff online so that we can really get that going. Because I have a goal to increase book sales in any way, shape, or form by 10% over what we're making in any given year, so that we can increase some of the funds that go to support the library programs. That's it.
Will the authors, speaking about his book, will that be online as well?
I believe so. I believe it's a Zoom event
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, which is great because it's not something that you get to do a lot of. And if you have to go and be someplace, then it's really hard for some people. I mean, we had one of my institution's employees at the Angeline Bowley, and she was super excited about it. And then she emailed me, no, she called me the next day and she's like, I had no idea that you did what you did. And I'm like, nobody knows what anybody does in their spare time, Michelle. So I'm glad you could figure this out. So it really is nice. And libraries around the state can participate who might not have as robust a friends group as we do.
Someone wants to volunteer for this robust friends group.
Yes.
Is there a link right now on the website, or how do they,
Yes.
if they don't know you directly? how do they
Yes, there is actually
Okay.
an email which goes to Ashley Sims. She monitors the account. It's friends@farmlive.org. And it will get to me eventually.
Okay.
And nobody needs to know my email. I have the nothing.
Right, any other questions for Stacy? Congratulations on your upcoming new board member. I think that's exciting. That you've been
Oh,
working on
it's
that
not,
for a while.
it's not done yet.
I'm congratulating you in advance. for being-
They would make me not hire him, not hire him for a position that he has to pay to be in. Nothing.
Right.
Thanks, Stacy.
Sure thing.
Appreciate everything that you do. All right, that will bring us to the director's report. So I'll turn it over to you.
I received this lovely little note from one of Anna Hay. Anna is our senior outreach person, and it says, I so appreciate all the personal service I received here at Beaumont Commons, especially from Anna. She is so perfect for her position. And that is 100% true. Okay, so we had our town hall in August 21st was it. It was at the Farmington location. It lives on our webpage on the millage fact sheet. Unfortunately, nobody was in attendance. It was just one person on Zoom, but it was fine because then I just got to, we recorded it and I got to read as opposed to have to look at anybody. So it worked out just fine.
So nobody came?
No,
We did the first one.
we had 10 maybe.
Yeah, well, only maybe 2 or 3 in the building and then some online. Yeah.
Yeah, something.
I think it's more effective. Remember you did it for Koha. It's more effective if you have a group that's already meeting and then slip yourself in there.
Right. So the library extravaganza is Sunday, starting at 1:00. In your packet, if you didn't, the t-shirts are over here. If you're attending and you're manning a station with us and whatever t-shirts are over there, you can go through and pick your size. I gave you this little printout here that tells you what stations that you could choose to be at. There will be other people there. You're technically assigned to the bingo card return table, but you can be outside at the welcome tent. You could be at the front lobby, introducing, passing out the bingo cards. It's, you can't all be in one space. You have to spread out. This is what the bingo card looks like, and it will be a quarter sheet. So there'll be these little cards. They're encouraged to go around and stop at least 4 stations. And when they stop at a station, they get a little sticker and they put it on here. And so then they would bring when they're all complete, whether they do, we're not gonna quibble if they didn't do 4 stations, so they still get a prize. I'm just kidding.
It doesn't have to be 4 in a row or not, it doesn't have to be like.
Not saying bingo's in quotes, so they don't have to go like bingo across, up, down, or diagonal. Yeah, okay. And on the back side, they only have to fill out the back side if they want to be entered in the grand prize drawing. And the grand prize drawing is like it's a bag that's that hot cold bag that zips and it's in library colors and it's insulated type of thing.
No,
Is
they're getting, everybody who comes,
Oh,
every
yeah,
family
yeah.
that comes to the event gets the.
What's the grand prize then?
They're giving out the nicer, library bags, that we get from.
Oh, okay.
You know, the nicer one.
Okay.
You know, the nice one.
They only have to fill out the back if there's getting on the grand prize drawing, otherwise you're just collecting them as a count to people. There is one question on the back, two questions. Was this your first time visiting the library? And would you like to sign up to receive email? If it's just a yes or no type question, so shouldn't take them long. There'll be pens at the table for them to complete this. So it starts at 1. I would be here by 12:45. You do need to park in the back. In the parking lot, you know, in the back by the office building, because everything else will be, so all the parking, so. Okay,
Must you be present to win the grand prize?
so,
No, because we're not even born now until like later.
So they just have to have any bingo and that's good enough, or they have?
no bingo, it's just they just need to visit 4 locations, can be anywhere on the street, it does not have to go across down.
They just have to have 4 filled in.
So potentially everybody.
Essentially, everybody can win something, yeah, if they turn this in and they want, whether they have 1 sticker on the sheet or not, we're not gonna tell them, no, I'm sorry, you can't have it, you need to go visit 3 more stations. So, no.
We'll have a pocket of stickers to help them.
Each station is numbered. Yes, there will be a map that they will get. I don't know if that's outside at the welcome tent or when they walk.
I think it's at the level.
Yeah. So they'll have a map and they'll have their little card and that kind of stuff.
How many people do you think will come?
Well,
Well.
well, if you want Maria's numbers or what will actually happen, I think we have what, about 2,000 last
no,
night?
we had almost 3.
Oh, 3. Oh, good. I would like 3 or more, but we'll get around. I don't know, though. This time the Lions are really doing good, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's right during the Lions
Yeah.
game.
I got the postcard and the postcard hit my mailbox yesterday. I don't know if it hit anybody else. Yeah,
The
there you go.
mailbox was week,
Yeah.
it should have, I think I got mine
It was
Wednesday.
like the day before.
So 3, awesome.
We have 2 food trucks, the delectable, which is like little bowls that you can make with different things in it, and then cookies and cream, which is like ice cream sandwiches made out of cookies. Donuts, sorry, donuts. So,
Are you allowed to put a sign that says, don't forget there's a millage? Are we allowed to put anything like that? Not telling them to vote, but you like to have one in the lobby?
so they will have, well, there is a thing on the kiosk that says vote November 5th, and then they will have the factual information sheet at the welcome desk.
And maybe I might be able to get us some buttons that might indicate that we might be talked to.
Oh,
Ask us, you all are willing to wear those. If I can think about previous events, there was a lot of traffic at the door to be welcomed, and Jim and I kind of hung out there. And it was busy the whole time with people just kind of, even though they go to the welcome tent, they still come in the door and go, where do I go? You know, so that was a good spot, I think, for any of us to be, in addition to the places that Kelly mentioned.
The answer to that question is not someplace else. It's. Come on in.
Yes, absolutely, right, yeah. Where do I go? Right, you're there, absolutely.
Okay, as you saw, Will, our digital content creator, he left us for, I believe it was a full-time position. And he also started library school this fall, so, good for him, good for him.
Was he already interested in library science before? Okay, so this is the natural.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, I think that was his goal. Okay, so the audit is underway. I'm gonna assume in October is when they're gonna want to present to you at the October meeting. Every year we do some kind of OPED type of disclosure or whatever. So this is the interim year, so it's not the big one. Every 2 years they do the big one. But I put that in your little packet here and just if you look at line 6 on the little packet, the second page. See that This is, as we knew from last year, we're now 408% overfunded.
Yes.
So we need to figure out, I don't know if that's the finance committee or the personnel committee that discusses what to fund. The excess. It has to be something like healthcare related
Okay, and I
or
think,
premiums, yeah.
yeah, when we
I have
talked
to go back to my list.
about it last time, maybe
Yeah.
we could get that guidance around what the funds could be expended on.
Yeah.
I think the personnel committee would be a good stop for some recommendation right around what those things might be. Of course, with input from you guys and staff around what.
I have to go back to my notes. I know I have it written down what it can be used for, because it's very limited what you can use that for. But you can see that your liability is only $655.
Yeah. And we don't have any.
No people can go back into this, yeah. So just FYI on that,
This is for the people that retire.
I mentioned. Benefit. And that one that where the library pays their health. Where the library pays their health care. That was years ago.
Right.
Yeah, but
Right.
there's still 11 of them, I think, that
Yeah.
the library still covers.
Right.
Yeah,
With benefit.
so. But yeah, it's not open, it's closed to anybody else, so you just have to wait till it's fixed. We have a library card contest again. I don't know how many designs we're accepting, like how many new cards can we have?
Yeah.
But again, people love it. We got 72 submissions last time. We'll see what we get this time. So it's a great community.
I'm more interested this time.
Go on board, yeah, so we'll see. Of course, and it's a great time to do it because it's library card sign up, right? September is. We received 2 donations. One was from Sci-Fi, which is the group that's putting the fiber network in. They gave us $10,000 to purchase a Euro coding platform and then some laptops. And then Cares of Farmington Hills, because we sold duck race tickets, you got $1 per ticket that you sold, so we got $30. Rebecca is extremely excited. Rebecca Brown, she's our teen librarian, because finally reached out to the Hawk and will be attending, I think it's once a month on Wednesdays, the after school program to connect with the 5th through 8th graders that go there after school. So she's very excited about that and they're very excited to have her. And then our 24/7 bulb, if you came in the front door, you should have seen our lockers. Did you see our lockers? Nobody noticed the lockers.
I came in the front door and did not notice.
See?
I did last.
And they're bright. I mean, they're colorful. They do.
You know, I was probably too busy looking at the ground weeds or something. I wasn't thinking of the landscape.
They look very cheerful.
They do.
It
don't
looks
they?
colorful, just to show you how we should change the entrance. to make it
Yes,
more
yes, yes.
Okay, I like
There's
that.
no problem.
So, Megan is finishing up the configuration and stuff, so. We'll probably roll it out. I said September 15th, but it's probably gonna be a week after that. Next week is gonna be like a testing training. Like we can test it now. We can place a hold on a book and we can go scan it and put it in the laptop. Yeah, yeah, so.
So is the wrap installed?
Oh, yeah.
I get
It's
so
right
much colorful.
now.
I'm just like, how did I miss it? I'm like,
Oh, it's right up
okay.
against.
It's right there.
It is right there.
How many lockers are there? There's 18.
That's something
It will
that
be talked about during the extravaganza.
I think that it can be pointed out, say it's coming. I mean, sure. Yeah, I don't know if it's a station that they go to because it's, yeah, there's something. It's just, oh, look. Yeah,
So there's like no way to demo how you would use it.
you would have to put a book on hold. And,
Okay, so somebody could be there with the app.
well, see, the patrons can't see it, only staff can see it now because it's not accessible to them. So you.
Whoever's doing that would
Yeah,
have to, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
if y'all want to do that, sounds like Kathy wants to volunteer. Stand outside in front of the lockers.
So, we put a book on hold. I haven't put one of our books on hold in a while. As opposed to in our library. So, they'll have a choice of where they want.
So
to
it'll be
go.
Farmington Library, Farmington Hills and pickup locker or
Okay.
something like that. And then it can also be, and then what it does is it, on your first time you scan your card, it asks you, do you want a ADA compliant locker? Do you want a low locker? Do you want don't care locker? You know, type of thing. And then it will remember your preference from then on and your
Nice.
thing will always be in there. So yeah, it'll be a pickup location that you can.
Do we actually need a physical card to scan it
You can use the app.
or you can use?
I think you're what, can you type in your, yeah, you can type in your,
So you use the app or you type in your card number.
or your library,
card.
you scan
Got it.
either the app on your number in the app, library card number, or you can type it.
There. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah,
The dehumidifier, part of it has to be added to it yet. though.
yeah,
So.
but that doesn't
It doesn't
stop anybody from using it.
And we're gonna add a little drop box next to it.
Yeah, so people can return their stuff right then.
In the winter time, is there a heating element?
I don't know, but we can limit how long. It is a separate branch and we can limit. If you put it in the locker, you will only have 3 days. I'd like to bump it down to 2. We'll see how it goes. We're gonna start with 3, but I might want to bump it down to 2 because I figure you want it in the locker, you got 48 hours to get.
Is that through Polaris that you're doing?
It might be through the software when you just you have to ask Megan. It might be through the software when you define it as a branch.
Okay, so people that are getting mailers, still? Is that what we're doing? Sorry.
You got 3 days to get here, then, if you're on a mailer. So, the other thing that we're looking at is, do you know that no library does mailers anymore?
Library, yeah,
Well, library amount, well, they're like us behind the times, but anybody in our consortium, like Metronet, you either get email or no one just phone calls in there. So,
But we still do.
text or email. Well, that's gonna go away too. It's like,
We just renewed talking tech.
only for 6 months until we figure it out. So we have until December. So anyway, there's a lot of things that have to be decided on a side note.
Do we know how many people are using?
That's the research that we have to pick, and if it's less than 100. Then we're not really. Anyway. Okay, what else do I have? there? Okay, so a couple of programs that I want to bring to your attention that we have on next week, I think, September 17th. We have the register to vote with the League of Women Voters will be in the building to get people to register to vote from 11 to 3. They'll be at 12 Mile. This September 17th, Tuesday. And then we also have it's by AmeriCorps Community Training for Overdose Rescue. So this is somebody that's gonna come in and teach people how to use Narcan and that kind of stuff, since we have it out in the front of the building, maybe people wanna know how to use it. And if you are, it's kind of like a training session. So it's how to recognize the signs of an overdose and properly provide first aid during an overdose situation, including how to perform CPR and how and when to use Narcan. And so after the training, they get a overdose rescue kit containing Narcan nasal spray and the information that they learned. So.
It's looking-
Okay. Oh, and then just one other thing I wanted to show you. I just wanted to share this with you. So our MAP program, where you can get the free passes to whatever. So for August, I thought this was interesting. The most popular location that was requested was Kensington Metro Park. From Farmington Community Library. If you look at all of the libraries that are participating through the library network, it still is Kensington Metro Park. And so that's at 175 passes for the month of August, and then Lower Huron Metro Park was 157, and then the Howell Nature Center at 120.
Those numbers are just our number?
No, those
So
are
the
throughout
numbers Throughout.
the participating libraries then, yes.
I feel like that's a program that has a lower level of awareness than it should.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I,
That's awesome.
and then Belle Isle Park comes in at 90. So just thought it was interesting.
The petting farm.
Oh, I didn't realize they had a petting farm. Oh, okay. I think that's it for me. Do you have any questions?
That'd be a strict extravaganza the whole time, but okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this is not gonna be there the whole time either, and Jill's not gonna be there the whole, are you gonna be there?
Part of it.
Yeah, so yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Whatever time you can give, it's fine. Any other question? And Jill, I'm gonna turn it over to you. Yeah, I'll trade seats with you. You're gonna have to share it. It's up. I didn't share it, so people on, there's no one on. But you might want to get it to soon.
Share screen on Zoom.
It is us. It should be shared. Isn't it? Well, no, it's not. You're right. You might have to share. It's not.
So I think, as you all know, we had some previous discussion around sharing of services and how we share and catalogs that are open and closed. And so Jill's going to, I think, give us all some education on that and help us understand where we sit in that mix. And we'll go forward from there. Thank you, Jill.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to you today about the TLN shared catalog. So this, I'm gonna kind of start broad and then narrow it down to talk specifically about the TLN shared catalog and how that works and how it compares to our Polaris catalog. And some of the things that Kelly talked about with the MAP program and the pickup lockers kind of plays into that because MAP program is available to us through TLN and our partnership with them. And the ability for our patrons to choose the pickup locker as a pickup location is only made possible through us having the Polaris catalog and not being in the TLN shared catalog. So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about, pros and cons. So to start off, Michigan Library Cooperatives. TLN is just one of 11 cooperatives throughout the state of Michigan. You can see on the map kind of how those are organized. TLN is in this little yellow area down here. Michigan Library Cooperatives are established by Michigan state law. They provide libraries with different training, development, access to different resources, such as automation services, which include things like shared catalogs, ebook platforms like Libby, and group purchasing for databases and other resources. Cooperatives in Michigan are funded 1/3 through state aid appropriation of annually to public libraries based on the population they serve, and a portion of the state aid that's paid directly to the member libraries. So this is a breakdown of how the different library cooperatives in Michigan, the populations they serve. You can see the library network in Michigan is the largest cooperative in Michigan based on the population that it serves, and it does receive the largest portion of funding from the state of Michigan. Okay. So about TLN, this is the map of the TLN member libraries. You can see it covers libraries throughout different counties, Livingston, Washington, Washtenaw, Wayne, Oakland. TLN refers to the library network. It's governed by a board of trustees, advised by a steering committee. There are 74 member libraries in the committee or in the network currently. FCL is is one of the members. We do not pay a yearly fee for membership, but we do pay for individual services that TLN provides. So.
Just a note here, I think Kathy, are you now on the board of TLN? Is that correct?
Yes, she is. You were just was it just last month?
My term starts October 1st.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Congratulations. So what does TLN offer its member libraries? So the items that are highlighted in teal, trying to keep with our colors. Those are things that FCL participates in. So one of them is Amazon Prime. FCL has a business account. This is where we enjoy free shipping and other discounts. The MAP program that Kelly discussed, there's over 450 participating cultural destinations, parks, campgrounds, recreation areas. Legoland is one of them. In case anybody has kids in your life, you can get discounted tickets to that. It's awesome. They add new destinations every year. It's great. Last fiscal year, FCL patrons checked out 369 MAP passes. We participate in rides delivery. This is how we send out and receive our MEL interlibrary loans. This is also how we receive back FCL materials that are returned to other TLN libraries. So if somebody from Livonia comes here and checks out one of our items and they return it to the Livonia Library, it gets returned back to us through rides. And then how we send back TLN materials that are returned to us, we pay $3,495 per year for the service through TLN. We also receive statewide discounts. TLN, one of the most, I think, powerful parts about being in TLN is their ability to negotiate. So they negotiate discounts for their members for materials, technology, databases, online resources, programs. We participate in programs such as Broadway in Detroit, Bureau Code 313 Presents, and Detroit Zoo discount tickets. These can all be found on our website, especially the ticket discount programs. If you go on our website under it's FCL card perks. Training, TLN offers training for member libraries, staff. Our staff particularly participate in the TLN Technology Forum, which is actually coming up next month. We have 2 staff members confirmed. I think we might have a few more going. We have staff members who are on the TLN Adult Services Committee and attend those monthly meetings. We also participate with the TLN Technology Service. We receive volume discount purchase opportunities. Our internet is discounted 50% through TLN. They submit our E-rate on our behalf, and we receive 30 to 50% discount on computer equipment like hardware, software, hotspots, that sort of thing. So as a member, we definitely benefit through these discounts. TLN offers some other services which we don't take advantage of because we already have these services provided for us in-house, such as cataloging. They have something called Download Destination, which is essentially their Libby platform. We have this through Metronet. However, Metronet recently engaged in what's called a reciprocal lending agreement, or referred to as RLA. So Farmington Community Library patrons now have access to the majority of TLN's Download Destination catalog, as well as all the other consortium collections throughout Michigan. So that greatly expanded their access to ebooks.
Did that happen, Joe?
That happened, I want to say about a year ago.
Does that mean it's accessible through Libby, or is it a separate?
It is accessible through Libby, so all you have to do is, when you're in the Libby app, that like 3 lines in the middle, if you click on that, you can click add another library, and then you can search those other consortiums and add your card. And then you can add, we have a flyer where it'll list all the library consortiums that are participating in the RLA. It's not all the library consortiums in Michigan, but it's the majority of them. And so then once you add all of them, when you're searching in Libby, it will automatically search all of those consortiums. So then if a book isn't available through the Metronet consortium, and it is available through one of those other libraries, it'll show up in your search and you can check it out from them. The only things that won't show up are any items where it's like that it's a number of checkouts, like different publishers have different rules. So like after 35 checkouts, the library has to purchase another copy. Those aren't going to be available. Or anything that, is like new or lucky day for them. But it has greatly expanded what is available to our patrons. And that was something that was done by the Metronet consortium. So it's a really great thing. So TLN also offers an employee assistance program. We already offer that to our employees part-time and full-time through the Mutual of Omaha. They also offer grant projects, assistance with grant projects. We have Sherry Vaughn, who is our small business and nonprofit outreach director on staff, who helps our patrons and staff with grants. So that's kind of a little snapshot of our benefits as TLN member. So TLN offers an online catalog through their shared automation system. The online catalog includes books, audiobooks, AV. It's a shared catalog. It includes a backend system, the public interface. They provide configurations, reports. It's a shared resource among the member libraries. It reflects the holdings and available materials. So the way it's structured is there is a user group that involves the active participation of all the libraries that are part of the shared system. It's designed to be cost effective. So the more libraries that are part of the shared catalog, like they're sharing costs. So the more libraries that are part of it, the lower the costs for everybody who's participating. As libraries drop out, it increases the costs. So the user group is responsible for the governance of the catalog. And then the user group, there's an executive committee that makes decisions regarding like the budget, policies, lending rules, that sort of thing. So it isn't like all of the libraries have a say necessarily in how the catalog operates. It is an executive committee that makes those decisions. So 50 of the 74 TLN member libraries are part of the shared system catalog. So that kind of shows you a breakdown of what that looks like. So these are all of the TLN member libraries. The ones that are highlighted in teal are the ones that are part of the shared catalog. So as you can see, it's not all of them. And part of being in the shared catalog, as I said, it's a cost savings measure. A lot of the libraries that are smaller or have limited budgets, this is an advantage to them because they don't have to run their own catalog. They don't have to have the staff to run the catalog. So this is useful for them.
How come we're not highlighted?
Because we're not part of the shared catalog.
We're not part of the shared catalog.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is the list. So to kind of get to my next point, libraries in Michigan are broken down by classes. So classes refer to the population they serve, not the physical size of the library or their size of their budget or that sort of thing. So to kind of give you the idea of class sizes, I provided, these are the class levels as determined by the Library of Michigan. So these are kind of some examples of each one. So class 1, I like to include the Mackinac Library just because it's so cute. If you've been to Mackinac, if you've been to the island and you've gone to the library, it's just the cutest little thing. And they serve 492 people. This is the only example that's not in TLN that I included, but the rest are all in TLN. So Royal Oak Township Library, not to be confused with Royal Oak Public Library, they serve 2,419 people. They are in the shared catalog. Very, very teeny library. Then you get a little bit bigger. This is 4,000 to 6,999. This is Walled Lake. Move up a size, Huntington Woods. Move up a little bit bigger, you have Berkeley and Ferndale. You move up a little bit bigger, now you're looking at 26,000 to 49,999. That's Bloomfield Township, Brighton, Redford, and then class 6 libraries, which are the largest libraries. That's West Bloomfield, Southfield, us at 90,000, and Canton.
Class 6, they're all standalones.
Well, we're gonna get to that. So this is the TLN libraries in the shared catalog by class size. So you can see that the majority of the libraries that are in the shared catalog tend to be the, 4 and 5 size libraries, decent size population. There are not a whole lot of the size. I mean, the 1 and 2, they're kind of small, but they're not a whole lot of 1 and 2 size libraries in the TLN consortium to begin with. A lot of those are more up north in the smaller communities. But that kind of makes sense, right? Like they're small to mid-sized communities. Maybe they don't have a large enough staff to have somebody who manages catalog, but you can see there are 8 libraries that are size 6 in the catalog. Okay. But not all size 6 libraries, class 6 libraries, are alike. So let's take a look at the size class 6 libraries that are in the TLN catalog. So we have the Trenton Veterans Memorial Library. They have a population of 75,467 that they serve. However, if we look at their budget expenditures and their per capita, that's what they spend per patron. They spend $11.84 per patron. They have a staff of 14 and 7 librarians. So for a library with that budget and that staff size, being part of a shared library catalog, I think does make sense for them fiscally and based on staffing. If you look at Pontiac, their per capita is $16.35 with 10 staff members and 6 librarians. You compare this to Farmington, our per capita is $53.67. We have 87 staff total and 24 librarians. So, we look at how this compares to the other class 6 libraries. You go to the next page, Dearborn Heights Public Library per capita is $29.40. Total staff 44, librarians 12. Novi Royal Oak, they're a little more comparable to Farmington Community Library. So this is just kind of to show you the comparison of the ones that are in there. So then this is a chart of the TLN libraries not in the shared catalog, and you can see that the majority of class 6 libraries are not in the shared catalog and do have their own catalog systems. You can look at Grosse Pointe. Their per capita is $87.76. They're doing just fine. With 92 staff and 34 librarians. Dearborn's doing just fine. West Bloomfield is doing just fine. Now, I thought this was interesting. Their operating expenditures are pretty similar to ours, but they have a higher per capita because they have a lower population than we do. So if we just had 20,000 less people, we would be right in the range of West Bloomfield, so. Canton, is a little bit higher per capita than us, but not by much. Ypsilanti, now they have 3 branches. Per capita is a little bit lower. Westland, Rochester Hills, St. Clair. Now, St. Clair County has 11 branches and are basically their own mini system, which is probably why they have their own standalone catalog. And Genesee County has 19 branches, which is probably why they also have their own standalone catalog, because that would just be so chaotic for all 19 branches to also then be in a shared catalog with 50 other libraries. So
They just picked up Genesee County too.
we did. TLN did. Okay.
And is this ordered, did you organize it by per capita?
Yeah. Yeah. So TLN's shared catalog is Carl. So before switching to Carl, TLN used, so we use Polaris, they use a thing called Carl. So before Carl, TLN used a system called Enterprise by a company called Cersei Dynex. In 2017, TLN submitted a request for proposal for a new integrated library system, or an ILS. You guys are learning all the inside lingo. The TLN Shared Automation Systems User Group formed a committee, they did a research, and then in 2017, they signed a 7-year contract, which renewed this past year for 2 more years. In talking to libraries, they did say it was kind of out of the norm for them to sign a 7-year contract with Carl, and that this 2-year contract was more in line with what would be typical for signing an ILS for a consortium of TLN size. Okay, so Carl, pros and cons. So I talked to 3 nearby libraries who asked to remain anonymous because not all of their comments were positive, and also because one library may be considering leaving. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. So the pros. One thing that they all said that they did like was that patrons from any library in the shared system could walk into any TLN library that is also part of the shared system and seamlessly use their library card. They don't have to register or anything like that. They said that's really great. Like your Livonia patron who walk into Redford and use your card just like your Redford patron. That's really helpful. Just for everybody's understanding, FCL patrons can also go into any TLN member library, because we're also members, and have their card added. Once their card is added, they can then log into that library's catalog, whether it's a standalone catalog or the TLN library shared catalog, and place holds on items for local pickup or have items sent to other TLN libraries. It works just as seamlessly. You just have to bring in your FCL card and your ID, and that's it. Conversely, patrons from TLN libraries can come into FCL with their card and ID and be added to our system. And we do it a lot for West Bloomfield patrons, Bloomfield Township. Those are the 2 that we see a lot. The other pros are the ability to leverage the collections of other libraries. This is a huge advantage for smaller libraries with limited collection budgets and space. One of the libraries I talked to too said, we live in kind of a more conservative community, and sometimes we have patrons who want books that maybe would be censored in our community, and they're able to get those through the TLN delivery. The ability to get materials not in their collection quickly for their patrons. TLN requests take about 3 days, fewer mail requests, and the ability to staff their library more efficiently, since catalog management and original cataloging is outsourced to TLN libraries, or outsourced to TLN. The libraries only have to hire staff to link items and do processing, which saves money. And this is helpful for libraries with limited budgets. So on to the cons. So patrons can place holds, but the most popular items like new books and DVDs, hot picks, lucky days, library things, video games, are only available for local pickup only, which means patrons have to travel to that only owning library to pick them up. The owning library will not send them through the library for delivery. So while you can put a hold on a new item, you have to be willing to drive there to pick them up. And a lot of library patrons are not willing to do that. And when they find out the new item will not be sent to their home library, they get frustrated. And that's something that the librarians that I spoke to said that that's difficult sometimes for their staff to deal with, to explain, because they're like, I put a hold on this item, but why won't you send it here? It's the reason that they different. Because they want to
They want to keep it for
Those
their local.
for their own.
In essence, it's a way of kind of restricting the sharing in a way.
Yeah.
Available, but you gotta come get it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it also might have a shorter loan period. If you go through delivery, that, you know, that doesn't
You know,
get the book into your hand
Delivered
right
on
away.
both ends, that's 6 more days that it's out of.
Right.
Now, one library I talked to said that Dexter Library is trying to put forth that TLN should share all new items. The libraries are kind of pushing back on that a little, because then they're like, well, what about my patrons though? Like, my patrons pay tax dollars here, and shouldn't they have priorities, new items? So there's some tension there with that. So, in libraries, patrons do not have priority when it comes to holds on new items. So because patrons from any library can place a hold on a new item for local pickup, this means when a library's copy of a new book comes out, patrons from other libraries can place holds and be in line for a book ahead of the owning library's patrons. So at FCL, only FCL patrons can place holds on FCL's new materials, library of things, and kits. And only FCL patrons can check out our hotspots, laptops, iPads, and library of things. So we give our patrons priority over non-FCL patrons when it comes to our most popular materials. Another, and I thought this was kind of funny, actually. The homepage of the catalog isn't customizable. It only features new items, which are aggregated system-wide. Therefore, not all the items are available for patrons to pick up at their home library. So they get frustrated because they'll see these hot new items and then they'll want to put a hold on it. And then they'll find out it's only available at this other library that they have to go to. And then also, since the homepage content is automatically fed to the system based on purchasing, sometimes adult content or adult content cover art is featured on the the featured screen, like half-dressed people. And libraries have to put in a help ticket to have it suppressed, but it could stay up there for a few days. So that's happened a few times, and they've had patrons call in and are like, why is there a half-naked person on this thing? And then the other thing is, like, because it's based on purchasing, if the library goes in and places a huge order, then the whole home screen is just flooded with all of their content. And then somebody's like scrolling through it and it's like, it's all one library's content. And then it's like, they're like, why can't I get any of this stuff? There was also a big dilemma when it came to fine free, because when some of the TLN libraries started going fine free, this caused issues within the shared system. And different libraries in the consortium had different views on how this should be handled, and it became difficult to deal with until a consensus was agreed on, and TLN adopted a policy which stated the fine had to stay with the patron, because basically libraries were charging fines were upset when their materials were being returned to fine-free libraries, and then those libraries were not charging the fines once those were returned. And they're like, even though they weren't getting the revenue for it, was the principle of the thing. So now fine-free libraries, if Redford is charging a fine and Salem South Lyon is not. And Salem South Lyon, one of their patrons returns a Redford item to them, South Lyon still has to charge their patron a fine because they returned a Redford item to them. So it's caused some issues with that. Catalog doesn't always default to automatically showing the home library's holdings first in the search result. It's supposed to when you're using it from the library's website or in the library's building, but it doesn't always happen. And it doesn't always happen in the app. You have to specifically narrow it down to see what it's at your home library. So like if you're using the app and you're searching for a book, it could show you all these books, but none of them that are available at like your home library. It could show you all these books that are available at all the other libraries. So you have to purposely say, I just want to see books at this library in order to see what's at your library. They also said the sheer size of the catalog means it's difficult. It contains many different editions of the same book, which makes it messy and difficult for patrons to find the book, like what they're looking for. Example that one of the librarians gave me is that there may be over 80 versions of Romeo and Juliet in the catalog. So patrons always put a hold on whatever pops up first. And so sometimes the thing that pops up first, there's one copy and that copy is missing. So then there's like 10 holds on this one thing that's missing when there's like 200 other copies or whatever that are available. And they put the hold on the one copy that's not at their home library, when if they had gone like 4 records down, they would have found the copy that's available at their library. And so so librarians are having to go through and like find the record that their patron put on for another library and like reset it. And, you know, patrons are mad because like I put this hold on it. Why am I still waiting for this book 3 months later? And I see it's on your shelf, and then they have to explain all that. Library staff find it difficult to write reports. Staff are limited on what they can do on the administrative end because TLN has to lock it down in order to maintain a cohesive catalog because they can't have 100 cooks in the kitchen messing with stuff on the back end. TLN controls the types and circulation rules, which is very limiting for member libraries. In order to get new item types and rules added, they have to go to the TLN committee, which only meets once per month, and any proposed additions have to be voted on and approved by consensus. And so what ends up happening is member libraries are encouraged to use existing rules, which may or may not fit with what they need. And this makes creating new collections like Library of Things and board games difficult. Staff are unable to create their own records for items that are not in a catalog. So items like local history materials, yearbooks, books by local authors, have to be physically sent to TLN for cataloging, which can take a really long time because they're doing it for 50 libraries. It's nearly impossible, and this is what I heard from all 3 of the libraries I talked to, though one of them does use the it's called the acquisitions model. But 2 of them did not. They said it's nearly impossible to add a title to the catalog before it's published in order to build a holds list. Out of the 50 libraries that are part of the shared catalog, only about 10 use the acquisitions model, which allows libraries to enter records for items before it's published. So what ends up happening is staff aren't able to put in a temporary record in the catalog before the physical item arrives. So they're not able to put in, like, create holds lists before the item arrives. They're not able to anticipate demand and pre-order adequate copies to meet community needs. So they can only guess how much maybe they need to order and then end up having to order possibly more once it arrives, and then that holds list builds right away. And then patrons get mad because they know this book is coming out, but they can't get themselves on a list. And then it arrives and everybody's scrambling to get their name on a list. And then this is something that just recently came up like last week, was concerns about TLN monitoring member libraries purchasing and attempting to influence collection development decisions. The TLN director recently emailed the TLN's executive director recently emailed TLN's director group about his personal concerns regarding one library's purchase of a controversial book and encouraged the adoption of collection development policy language, which some interpreted as promoting censorship. However, he later responded that he was not encouraging censorship. However, at that time, it was like, you know, yeah. So TLN's Carl versus FCL's Polaris. So this image is what they're called the rivers, but this is what that homepage looks like. So it shows new items, but new doesn't necessarily mean newly published. It just means newly purchased. Like I said, that's not customizable. And sometimes they're incorrectly listed. I don't know if you can see that red circle, but this is supposed to be new adult fiction,
Okay.
but they're all picture books. Yeah, and so, you know, and as I mentioned, sometimes it shows inappropriate content. So this is our Polaris catalog. All the items are items that we own. All the items here are the rivers are curated by our staff. And we can customize them to reflect the season or programming like AAPI or MLK Day. And so since we curate the rivers, we know that they accurately reflect the categories that they're in. And since we curate them, we can make sure that any covers which have adult content are excluded so that they are appropriate for the all ages audience that is intended for our catalog. This is Carl's search. It does not have predictive text. So if you misspell chemistry, it's going to say no results found. If you put it in ours, it'll say, did you mean? Which I think is important because I'm a terrible speller. We also have a link to suggest a purchase right there. Because it's a standard catalog, you have to go into each individual library site to find their suggested purchase. It's not as easily findable. When I search lessons in chemistry in Carl, this is what comes up first. It's their cookbook. And then it's this lessons in chemistry, which I don't know why it's this book cover. But you can see now it says available now. But if you look, Redford isn't the first one listed, it's just the alphabetical list. You can narrow it down by like format, author, subject, that sort of thing. If you change this, you could change it to just the Redford location. When you search our catalog, this book is the first one that comes up. It's the cover you recognize. The nice thing is you can see it also shows the different formats, but then it also shows it's available in each different format or if it's checked out. And for our ebooks and e-audiobooks, it does reflect if it's checked out in Libby, like that's the real-time active data from Libby. In Carl, you would have to click the ebook and then it would prompt you to log into their download destination to then see if it's checked out in Libby. But this will show you in real time. On here, it'll also show you if it's on the shelf and at which location here. And then this, you can also divide it down by age group, language, location, that sort of thing.
Is that in Vega?
Yes, we also have the classic catalog too, if you like the classic catalog. It's like old Coke versus new Coke, you know? So lessons in chemistry, in the Carl catalog, if you clicked on book, this is where you could see if it's currently available or not currently available. And place the hold or add it to the list. Now, if I clicked on, this is kind of like a magnification that shot, but it'll show you the different libraries where it's available at. But you can see it doesn't even start with Redford Library, and I'm on their site. So you'd have to scroll all the way down to see if it's even available at that home library and then hit place hold. Also, I don't know if you see on the side where it says details, all copy reviews related. That's where it can give you additional information through a thing called Syndetics Unbound, which is really cool. On our site, oops, Gosh, how do I go back?
We still use syntax.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let me go back. Here. Oh, wait, I didn't go back. So, when you click on the location where it says it's on the shelf, this will list like fiction, location, and then it's in library. And then once you click on in Carl related, that's where you're going to see all the Syndetics and Bound stuff. But in our catalog, once you click on the title, it automatically shows up here, which it's related books if you like the book, and then you click on it and it will take you to that book in our catalog. If you like that author, if you're a similar authors, you click on it and it'll show you all their books in our catalog. It's a really great source. Like I said, Carl has the same thing, but you have to like go several layers to get to that. So that's kind of a basic overview of the two differences. So how TLN reciprocal borrowing works, patrons find what they want through the shared catalog, they place a hold, we send to our library or to their home library. The next day, the staff runs a report, they pull it, and they put it, mark it in transit and put it in crates for TLN rides to pick it up. Now, different libraries, they pay for that service. So some get deliveries 5 days a week, some get them 3 days a week. So that can impact how long the wait time is. This is what the catalog or the distributing station looks like. They get sorted and then they get sent to the library for delivery and they get put on the hold shelf for pickup. We're part of the Check It Out program with the library network. So we have reciprocal borrowing. Like I said, anybody can walk in and have their card added. The only things we don't share are hotspots, iPads, that sort of thing. But we are part of MEL. So MEL has been a really great resource. There is there's 436 libraries that participate. It's a great source for local history items, Ernie.
Check that out.
So FCL gets mail deliveries 5 times a week. The wait is usually 2 weeks, so it's longer, but that's because it's coming through from different areas of the state. Mail loans check out for 4 weeks, they renew 1 time. Last year, our patrons checked out 8,324 mail items. This represented, though, 0.85% of our total circulation. So it's not like our patrons are really relying on mail to supplement our collection all that much.
Do you know what percentage of our patrons utilize library network services?
No, I'd have to get that from TLN, but I could
I'd be
pull
curious
that,
to know.
yeah. And Mel is integrated into our catalog. So when you search something and it does not come up in our catalog, you can see here, it'll show up where it says Michigan E Library. And when you click that, it will take you to that record in Mel if that title is in Mel or that author is in Mel. So this is an example. This Halloween cookbook, you can see it was only available in Hoopla. And then right here, because it is available in Mel, this Mel logo shows up. And when I click on that, that would take me out to the Mel website to that record, and then I could request it from there.
And the logo only shows up for ones that are available
Through
now.
Mel, yeah. And if you still can't find it, you can request it through WorldCat. This searches other libraries throughout the United States. We can only get books, not AV, but we can get microfilm. And last year our patrons requested a little over 300 things. Okay, I know that was super long. I'm sorry. I tried to be very detailed about it because I knew you'd have a lot of questions. Anybody have any questions for me?
Let you know that TLN is looking into other. But it's very hard to find them because you have to, like, we have a standalone and we serve, you know, our branches, but when you have that many libraries, a lot of them don't serve consortiums. It's always open source.
Yeah, that's true.
What's the website at the very end, if you wanted to look further?
WorldCat?
No, after. That right there, the WWOCIC,
Oh, yeah, that's WorldCat.
that is WorldCat.
Yep. And we can get articles from there too.
Great. Bill, thank you very much.
Yeah.
That was very informative for me. I learned a lot about how the networks work. Definitely understand kind of the value propositions around why you might choose one over the other. And I think this is kind of good stuff to digest as we might have folks talking to us about the millage in the community, right? It gave a good digest of service that's available through FCL comparatively to other libraries around. So thank you. Yeah.
Say that I worked for TLN for 10 years and I was their software support and trainer. And I so set up a lot of the libraries there and all of their information into the shared system. And I loved it, but I was so happy to get onto a standalone. Thank you, Farmington, because you can do so much.
It's so much more convenient. I'm not speaking of the public library, but I live this at Farmington Schools, having 14 libraries and only one of me. I had to become TLN for the schools, and I was doing the cataloging and all that. And it cuts down on what kids can do, you know, just what Jill was saying about where you can place holds and all that. Yes, we could ship books out to other schools, but I had 14 different budgets and I didn't want to move teachers and students who were requesting books that only a couple schools had, but it was in the curriculum for all fifth grade. You know, how do you give priority to
Wow.
which school has it? And that's the similar thing to patrons trying to ask for the most popular items at one library. Definitely see the advantage of being on a standalone system. And I understand why it costs more, but you know, you need more staff, but those are all things that we offer here that are, it's frustrating to go for me to go to another library that's on TLN and be looking up stuff and say, oh, now I got to go to a third library to pick up. Yeah.
That's a real disadvantage.
I mean, it's not, it's definitely a great service for the libraries that need it, that are small enough that they can't be on a standalone system. So they're, you know, thank God it's better than nothing, and it serves those communities, just not in the way that Farmington patrons are used to.
Kathy, now that you're on the board, we'll be looking for you to remedy all of the.
I would like to get a copy of what she presented.
Oh, sure. I can send it to the board.
That would be good.
Thank you.
Can I make one announcement that I forgot to make? October meeting is in Farmington.
Okay.
Oh, is it? I've known
Yes. Yeah, okay, so have the coffee ready.
Maybe I'll make some more cookies.
That'd be great also. That will bring us to unfinished business. And so we have new meeting room policy approval listed under unfinished business. We visited this once before, and I think there was some language we wanted to kind of clear up around defining the patron, so.
Right, so it was on page 1, we were trying to define who was actually can rent a room as a valid FCR. What does it mean to be a valid FCR card holder? And so I sent it to Ernie. does this make it more clear? So it's section 2 under reservation and scheduling meeting room on the first page at the bottom, under A. And it's the first sentence, groups and individuals who have a valid FCL card, and I crossed out what it used to be, may use the group meeting rooms pursuant to the requirements of this policy. And then the addition was to obtain an FCL card, one must live, work, go to school, or own property in Farmington Hills, so they know who exactly can get a card. That was the addition. Does that help clear it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. So with that being said, I would entertain a motion for approval of the new meeting policy. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by Chris, seconded by Kathy, that we would approve the group meeting room policy as presented here today. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Kelly. That will bring us to subcommittee updates. Kathy, do you have any updates from the finance committee?
Well, I wanted to talk about Michigan class. Due to my having COVID after the last board meeting, and I hope nobody caught it. Good. I didn't deposit the second $4 million in the Michigan class FCL millage sub-account until August 20th. Consequently, our earned interest income does not reflect a full amount. Our earned interest income for August was $27,692.45. And our year-to-date earned income is $110,562.95. So that will be much bigger this coming month. When at the end of this month, or next month, because we have. So we currently have a balance of $8,688,023.30 when combining all of our Michigan class sub-accounts. Now, we haven't gotten any LSCA grant money. When does that come? If we did, it hasn't been put into Michigan class.
I have to look and see when it comes, when it's distributed. I'll find out. Yep.
Okay. That's all.
Because we did set it up to where it automatically put it in there.
I created a sub-account.
Right, and so I think it's automatically deposited in me, isn't it, from the state of Michigan? Thought that's why we set it up that way. I'll have to look for that. I guess we do. I know, yeah. I went back through an email and I know that's how we had it set it up, but I thought the state of Michigan automatically deposited it in there, so you wouldn't have to. But I'll double check.
Yeah.
I'll see when it's distributed.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy, appreciate that. Any questions for Kathy on the finance committee? All right, with that, that will bring us to the personnel committee with Dahar.
So over the last couple of months, we've been both revising and completing the director evaluation. And so thank you everybody for responding and doing so in such a timely manner. I compiled the results and shared it with the personnel committee only so far, but after today, I'll share it with the full board and Kelly, because it is also valid for her to see her evaluation. Overall, the overall ratings were under the category of performance exceeds expectation, so that's a 4 out of 5. And what you'll see in the email I'll send later is kind of the breakdown for each section. So there are 6 different sections within the evaluation, everything from customer service to legal compliance to relationship with staff and board of trustees. And so kind of across the board, it was in the 4 range. So anywhere from 4.1 to 4.8 was the range across those categories. And then there were comments as well. All, I think 99% or probably 100% was just about the work that you do and how it is. Just, I think I saw some comments about over the years, how things have changed, and that's a lot and due to your work, and so it is very appreciated.
And I think we will continue the tradition Danette established to have the requisite meal to discuss. And I think that, you know, the committee, you know, might want to spend some time with you talking about, you know, the next year. I think this year we kind of did it a little informally. I asked you for some things. You
Right,
sent me
right.
kind of a visioning list. But I think the committee might actually be interested in talking with you a little bit about that this year.
Mhm.
So, and we'll invite as many trustees as want to attend, as long as we don't have a quorum.
Right.
So,
Or just don't make any decisions, you know, if you have, you can have more than it.
okay.
Well, that's true. You just can't make a decision.
All
And
right.
I'll just say, one of the things the personnel committee, three of us, and 3.5, I guess you kind of. That we've talked about is for 2025 to be more timely with the evaluation, so we're not going into fall to do that. And we talked about adding you know, staff evaluation portion as well, so we'll continue.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks to the committee for your work. Not easy work, but I appreciate the focus that you guys are adding to that work. And thank you, of course, Kelly, for your efforts here in the library and in the community to make sure we're positioned appropriately. You do a great job of doing that. All right, that will bring us to new business. So I think we have a proposed holiday schedule to take a look at for 2025. So Kelly, I'll turn it over to you.
So I think I sent you last year's, I think in your board packet, and then I sent you the proposed one. There's really not much difference in them. Other than the 4th of July. Because the 4th of July falls on a Friday, W's Working Conditions and Benefits Committee. So how this works is Working Conditions and Benefits Committee looks at the holidays coming up. They make the suggestion. I look at it. I took one thing off because I thought, no, that was off on Black Friday, and I said, no. So I took that executive decision and just, I'll own that. I will not say the board said no on that. I'm gonna own that.
Test.
Right. I just said, nope, not doing that, because, you know, I was here last, on Black Friday. And, I had my grandson with me because I was babysitting, and I was down in the children's department, and the amount of people that were down in the children's department that day was crazy. I mean, there was fights over that little shopping cart. And, you know, and my grandson was just trying to get a hold of it, and somebody would take it away from him.
Very much keeping with the Black Friday.
Right, so I'm like, nope, you know, and if I hadn't experienced that, you know, I might have actually thought about it, but no, and I still remember Tina Tiki saying, why would you be closed on a day where there's families here and they just come to the library, you know, that's their space. So I nixed that in the bud, and I will own that. I will not put that on you, but that was the only one that I nixed, and so everything else is basically the same, but I mean, so you can decide to vote. If you need to think about it, you can wait till October. It's totally up to you, but I do think that, and not to do it now because we're only 2 to 3 months, I think and I'm not making any recommendation to change this. But I do think we need to look at what other libraries do, and because this was set in stone back in 1975. Probably when the library was, you know, and so, and we have a comment from a particular patron every time we're closed on the Friday or the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I feel we need to listen to that comment. And so we really need to, and I don't know who that goes to, if that's a personnel committee thing or,
Yeah,
but I think we take the next 9 months to think about, really look at what other libraries are doing, and if we're aligned in many ways and that kind of thing. I'm just saying.
yeah, I agree with you. I think when I joined the board, I was interested in this because there was so much personnel discussion going on at that time. So I definitely kind of took a look at our number of service days and hours compared to the other libraries. And I felt like at that time we were in a pretty fair position. as far as treatment to our staff, but I definitely think it wouldn't help, it wouldn't hurt to have the personnel committee maybe take a look at this for 2026 and beyond. Yeah. Personally, considering there's no real change to the existing schedule, I'm okay if there is a motion on the floor to approve this tonight. If we'd like to take some more time and bring it back to next month's meeting, I'm okay with that as well. But I would entertain a motion if there's one available tonight.
I'd like to move that we accept this 2025 holiday schedule as presented.
Okay, so a second.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Chris and seconded by Delhara that we will approve the 2025 holiday draft schedule as presented. Any discussion? Yes.
Is there a consortium of local executive directors that just talk about things like this, like your schedule change? Kelly, is there some communication, like 4 or 5 directors get together and just talk about these practical kind of comparison things?
Yeah, we have the MetroNet Directors Group and we have the Detroit Suburban Library Roundtable. And it's made up of directors throughout the Metro Detroit area, yes.
You know, this is kind of a simple thing, but it would be just really quickly, you could get an idea of what other people are doing.
Yeah, and I think that's probably when the personnel, when they look at it, you'll reach out to those folks and kind of take the survey. What I found last time though was all over the board.
The majority, it's the comment that we always get is when we're closed for the 3 days, like on Memorial Day and Labor Day, and I know we're gonna get it for the July 4th holiday. So when I was looking, because I just got the comment, because we just had Labor Day.
How many comments did you get?
Just one. But when I was looking at other libraries, the majority of them are the 3-day weekend, but there's a few that are open on Saturday, closed Sunday, Monday. There may be a few that are open Saturday, Sunday, just closed on Monday. So it just depends. And you know, when you think about that, you have to figure out, okay, how many people actually come into the building with electricity and water and you know, everything else you have to pay for and staff, and there's 2 people in the library, you know, so I mean, you have to balance all of that too.
Chris.
So the 2 comments I wanted to make were in terms of discussion that I think it's really good for our staff morale.
Yeah.
That we have these stretches of days that are closed. It just means a lot to staff, and if we had one patron complain, we could say maybe they represent 100. That's out of like 95,000. So I'm not sure I'd wanna.
That's why I say I'm not recommending, but I do think we do due diligence to research.
And then what's the thinking about closing at 3 on the Wednesday of Thanksgiving Day?
Same reason.
That was a board decision like years ago, but it was the same reason because people travel.
Yeah, no, I support it.
Yeah.
I support it. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if there was like a magic number of 3.
No, it started out at 5 because we're usually open till 9. And then the board,
Okay,
yeah.
that's good enough.
Yeah,
That, I just
and then they
wondered
went
if there was a,
to get a
other
jump
than an
start.
opinion that
No.
was voted on, if there was a reason.
No.
Okay, fine, I'm cool.
Is our reason, like, do we make a positive decision to stay open on Juneteenth for the same reason that we stay open on Martin Luther King Day, and that's to provide programming?
I believe that was the
Last
discussion,
time.
yeah,
Yeah,
We talked about it.
because I do know some libraries are closed, well,
Right.
they're closed for
right.
Martin Luther King
And I think
and.
we kind of heard from staff and some community stakeholders that they value library offerings on those days.
Programming on stage,
Right.
which is awesome.
Right.
Knowing that we track, so looking at some of the stats that you always provide, like door counters and circulation, do we look at the numbers and see when the lowest kind of numbers are across the year? Does it correlate with any of these open
I
days?
don't know that I think Fridays are always our slowest day. Don't you think? Not anymore.
But Friday mornings down in the children's department is like play date central sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. Monday is definitely not a slow day, but on a holiday it would be, right?
Yeah.
Sunday in the summertime can be a slow day and Saturday too. Saturdays and Sundays during the summer are obviously slower than on a school year.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
when you think about these holidays, a lot of people go away.
Right.
You know,
Right.
all the closed, paid holidays on those days, or just not special holidays like Christmas and New Year's?
So, yeah, like, they're not paid Easter Sunday. It's,
Okay.
you're just closed.
Okay.
You're closed for July 4th, or you're paid for July 4th, but not 5th and 6th, those kind of things. Yeah.
Any other discussion?
I'm glad that we're doing this early because the automation system needs to have closed days put into the system so that things are not coming due, checked out and coming due, especially for interlibrary loan. So it's good that we're doing.
All right, see no further discussion, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, next, we have the new meeting room. Oh, we're
No, we
done.
did that.
It is.
Twice.
It is.
Oh,
on
sorry.
twice. Yeah, no worries. All right, that will bring us to correspondence. Jim, Kelly, any correspondence?
Just the 1 minute.
Yeah, received that.
That was Jim, Kelly, not Jim Kelly. Next, that will bring us to public comment. I do see that we have a member of the public here with us this evening, so
Oh, I can stand.
Marilyn, if you don't mind, tell us who you are for the public and the board's edification.
Marilyn Leadham. You recognize me when I came in.
Good to see you.
First off, I want to thank Megan for the problem that I was having getting notices on hold. She resolved it. I'm getting.
Yay.
Thank her. I thought it started finally downstairs and I thanked her then, but I wanted to thank it in front of the board. Couple of things in the ladies' room. Many times I go in there and because of the type of faucets you have, you don't hit it right in the middle, it drips. And I've come in when it's running and I can't imagine what the water bill must be because it's running so often. So maybe a handle type instead of the thing that goes left, right, whatever would be better. I don't know if that's true in the men's room. I've never been in there, but yeah, and it wasn't running today, but I was in yesterday and on Monday, it was running, so. Second thing, we could have a second waste basket in there, one by the changing table and one near the door. The reason for the one near the door, I'm a retired nurse and I was always taught you never open the door with your hands after you've washed them. And we need to have something there to put our used, you know, I carry mine to the nearest wastebasket, but, you know. And then I was wondering, is there gonna be any updates on the chairs? Some of the chairs are in really bad shape downstairs. And
By the computers or just?
by the computers.
Okay.
And you can't, I go looking for the higher ones. Mainly because I've got 2 artificial joints and I'm gonna have a third next month, so. It makes it easier for me to get up and down. And there's only, because you can't maneuver the chairs up and down.
Okay, the hydraulics are not working.
Yeah, none of them. So, if we can do that, and some of the headphones are so loose. I come in here to watch DVDs and CDs that I can't get my computer, and even with a hotspot. So if maybe somebody could look into those. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Glad to know your previous concern got resolved.
Yes.
And I love the input that you're giving us. We might need to put you on our quality control team. 'Cause there are so many things, you know, but it's the little things that make all the difference.
Someone who's such a frequent patron, how does that?
Absolutely.
I can honestly say, I don't think I've ever had. No, I'm never in the library that long. Right.
That will bring us to trustee comments. I will make one comment just to say that, our millage campaign committee is moving along, thanks to the folks that are on the committee. And like I said, the hardest working lady in show business down there is a big part of that. I think right now, we've got a few things on the horizon. We've got some yard signs that are gonna be coming. So we are looking for people and places to place those. So we'll probably be reaching out to you all to talk about that a little bit. We're also formalizing our list of venues and places that we want to communicate to about the millage and that might ask us to come talk about the millage. One of those, Kelly and I have already visited with the Farmington Area Republicans last week, and I'll be visiting with the Farmington Hills Democratic Club next week to talk about the millage. And so Renee was there, a few city council members were at that meeting, and I would expect the same next week as well. So
Thank you for coming. That was wonderful.
yeah, I appreciated the opportunity to go and speak about the library. And I think we have a good news story to tell for sure. So, and we got some good questions too that I think we were then able to kind of back channel to Sarah, get into our FAQs on the website that will enhance the information that we have to communicate out to the public. The site that Sarah's put together is really great. It's got a tax calculator there where you can go in and put in your whatever amount you want to put in as valuation to figure out how it would impact you. And it's got just about anything that most people would want to know about the millage. So we'll also send that out to trustees just so you kind of have it at your fingertips and have that available as you communicate with people. Anything I'm missing on that topic? Either of you guys? No? Yeah. Yeah. All right, so that's all I had. Any other trust, and I'll see everybody at the extravaganza. Okay. Any other trustee comment?
Oh, trustee, go ahead.
You are not.
No, but you forgot one thing, but
Okay. I'll
I'm
come back.
just wondering if we've heard any more about a new board.
Good question. We were talking about that earlier today and we have not heard anything just as of yet. And our thought is they might be waiting until the fall when things aren't as hectic.
That's happening.
This has happened in the past, but we're gonna inspect that this week for you,
Okay,
Catherine. Good question. Yes, Sharon.
I used the computer room downstairs last week to do some stuff for our big reunion. And I have to say that Stacy was the gal who helped me from the desk. But while I was there, I had to copy all these pages. So I watched the process and the people that came in, they did the email, they did the scanner. And I have to say, it's really organized well. Somebody who needed help went up to the desk. Stacy happened to be there. She helped the person and they worked it. But in terms of functioning and those kind of complicated machines, if they haven't used it, it was very impressive. And it only cost 10 cents here and it cost 20 cents at and what's the Kinko's. But it was very impressive that there are several machines there that are kind of, whoa, how do you use these different things? You email, you scan, you copy. And it's a very nice resource.
That's something else we can use a value proposition. I didn't know we were half the cost of FedEx Kinko, so.
Well, you know, my dream.
Uh-oh. What did you spark, Sharon? Tell us your dream.
So, and I think I've mentioned this before, I don't think that we should be charging for copies up to us, like, until you get to a certain point, because if you think about who comes in. Now, you're a little bit different, because you're probably making a lot of copies, so I might, but if you think about who comes in, they're coming in for resumes, or they're coming in to make. And so like, I think, I don't know what the limit is, so do you get the first?
Every 10 pages, I think.
Yeah, or 20 pages, or, I don't know, I just think that.
I think it's worth exploring, and I think we entertain a recommendation from the staff on that. I was in Staples yesterday, and Staples, as you know, is a dying chain. Nobody shops at Staples much anymore. Well, it may not be around that much. But the copy center, I walked the whole store. There were maybe 2 people in the whole store, but in the copy center, there were 15 people and everybody was like, so it's definitely a needed service. So, yeah.
Well, I don't know. See, I don't know how we could do that with Envisionware. I gotta figure that out. I don't know if Envisionware is able to.
No, you do it real simple. It costs, you give them $1 and say, here's your dollar, make your dollars. I mean, how simple is that?
That's not like, I don't like that.
Yeah, so I have to figure out the logistics and see if it can be an
Maybe you have a
Envisionware
friend's
setting.
copy card or something.
I don't know.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, let's have a talk about
Yeah, I mean, we have somewhere in the budget. Where we have that separated out, right? Like our vending services.
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
could even look at all, yeah, all
Yeah.
of that. So.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's just.
I think
Because when you removed meeting room fees, you showed us percentage
Yeah.
of what it brings, in, and I'd be curious to see.
Yeah, I will too. I could
I'm
even wonder, I'd have to ask Ashley, she probably knows. Like it's down to how many copies, Yeah.
All right, well, we'll stay tuned for that. Sounds like you've got support here. Any other trustee comment?
I will say that for a certain director's evaluation, I was in a small library on the west side of the state and they let me print for free.
Well,
So-
see?
But I was.
Okay, no limit?
No, one copy.
Oh, one.
You got one copy
Yeah, I got
free?
one. No, I didn't ask for any more.
Oh.
So there was basically a small place where I was basically using the Surf Desk printer. Yeah, to get.
Marquette doesn't charge you for at least a certain number of copies. They don't charge you to fax and they don't charge you.
Well, that's the other thing,
Yeah,
faxing too.
yeah.
I wanna look at that
Yeah.
too.
Where is that?
Marquette, she's a Marquette,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
One
yes.
thing to say, Jill, thanks for that presentation. And
Yes,
also,
thank you.
it just makes me curious about learning about other things because I'm
What do you need to know?
newer. I don't know what I don't know, but I would love to know.
No.
I would love, I think having, I mean, certainly not at every meeting, but just periodically having some presentation. I know we do that, but even more than.
I love a good PowerPoint.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because now that you've got your evaluations out of the way, I didn't want to clog up people's mail traffic. But I'm going to be sending all of you a survey to ask you some questions about your needs as trustees and kind of your evaluation of your service as a trustee. As a precursor to a little bit of a retreat event that we will be having. That's one of the strategic plan initiatives that we're responsible for, is organizing a board retreat to kind of help us focus on our goals and our responsibilities. So the survey I'll send you, things that you think you want to know more about, or you don't know enough about, or you don't know what you don't know, you can tell me that too. Let me know. And I think working with the staff, and they're always great about educating us whenever we ask. I think we'll come up with some good topics that'll help keep that cadence of education up for the board into next year. And there are also, I think, some external opportunities for us as well. So. look
I
out for
also see that as an opportunity to meet other staff and the folks that we typically see here and get to hear about. I remember Crystal doing
I think it's a great idea.
the idea committee presentation. I think that was like my first board meeting ever. And so I still remember that. And so I enjoy it. And I would say once we eventually have our next board member who will come on, I would think that would be helpful for them. And Stacy, what you were sharing with your board members, I had a question of, is there any work or like anything that Friends Board does with this board?
Not directly.
to, like,
We mainly work with Stacy directly. I know we've talked about in the past some cross pollination, if you will, of maybe us visiting with the Friends Board or them visiting with us. I think either of those things or both of those things would be great and helpful. So we can work on that with Stacy, I'm sure.
Just your support.
And I think all retired people
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
sign up to work with sale. I will say.
You don't have to be retired to sign up for the books.
But even if you just go and shop at the book sale, I always tend to meet whoever's working at so that's where I meet most Friends members, I think it's at the book sale whenever I go in there and I spend what I'm gonna spend. So this time maybe I'll put on an apron and give you guys some help.
That would be super great.
Yeah.
It's actually really such an interesting experience.
It's actually a lot of fun.
And it
It
is.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't do it next
Chris
time,
is
but the end of
really
buying books too.
Done a lot of shilling for us, so yeah.
All right, anything else?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Kelly has reminded me that I forgot to tell you a Friends event. We're pouring at the Harvest Moon because this one got us spots. And so if you come on Friday night after 8:45 PM, fine, but what are you gonna do?
People already been drinking.
Right, tip out, baby, tip out.
What's the
We're
date
gonna
again?
have, it's the 20th.
Friday the
next Friday.
20th.
Yeah,
that's
next
the
Friday.
Friday.
Right, so we're gonna have our support the library by voting yes for the millage shirts that we can wear because we're at a non-sanctioned or a non-library event. We're not on pot and they're really cute. Huh?
I haven't heard about shirts.
So.
Are you pouring?
No, I'm not.
If you need people to work.
So basically,
I've got.
you can, any black shirt that you have, they're just gonna be an iron-on decal. So we'll give you the iron-on decal and then you put it on any black shirt that you have. So that way we don't have to spend money buying shirts.
Good idea.
Yeah.
But you have to pick up the decal from somebody outside of work hours or yeah, anybody.
Okay.
We'll have the decals ready.
I mean, you can
by
wear a white
tomorrow.
shirt too.
Yeah.
In fact, I might have some white shirts that are extra people.
What I will say is, the committee, the village committee will start kind of, so we will send you all kind of an update around whatever the things are. Just so you kind of know and know how to plug in, like if the signs are gonna be at my house or if the signs are gonna be at Jim's house or.
Yeah.
Or where can, just so you know how to plug in, so we'll do that. Okie dokie, if there's nothing else, thank you all for a great meeting. I think we consider ourselves adjourned.
I think I figured it out.